Hey, how you guys doing? This is Neil, the art instructor at masterpaintingnow.com and also top-selling instructor on Udemy and best-selling author of How to Draw Awesome Figures, which you can find on Amazon. In this lesson, we're going to go through how to draw hair. Now, it's really important. You can draw comic style hair as I did here for my upcoming course, how to draw beautiful comic faces, or you can draw it more realistically. Either way you want to draw it, though, it's really important that when you draw the hair, we'll go ahead and draw the color here. Let's go ahead and get rid of this right here, and now we'll see what she looks like bald. When you draw hair, let's say we want to this is the style of hair we want to draw, right? Now the other style I just showed you was actually inspired by Harley Quinn from the new Suicide Squad. But notice how I really changed it and simplified it to my own thing. Now, even if we want to represent this in some realistic way, now obviously that's not Jessica Alba, it's just a comic character that I drew really quickly again for my course. It's actually a drawing that we go through in my course, just right here. We go through this entire drawing step by step and how to do it all, how to draw the template for these beautiful faces for comics and whatnot. When we want to draw this hair, we don't want to draw exactly what we're looking at, right? We want to think about it in clumps. Now, in that course, I also go through my veil method. I'm not going to go through that here, but let's just go through the basic idea first of how to think about hair. So think about it as in clumps. I'm going to do this on a separate layer so I can draw over it and get rid of it. You have this basic clump pattern here. This is one shape. So think about the actual shapes and don't try to draw exactly what you see. Kind of stylize it, make it your own. Right there, that's it. That's the whole clump. And then you have the main shape of hair that comes about right here, right? And this creates that top part of the hair. You don't have to have it go that far back. In fact, I'm not going to go that far back with it. We're just going to come right about here with it. And this is the major shape of the hair. So draw this major outline shape of the hair here. And just have that there first. Right, that's the major shape of the hair, just that outline. That's what you want to get in there. Now, if you want it to be, exactly accurate, you can, think about things more and angles and all that kind of stuff. But this is basically what we're looking at right here. Right now, once you have that, then you can start adding more clumps on the inside of the hair, and think about them as whole separate shapes. So we have another whole separate shape right here that kind of bends down right here and comes over to the side, right? So this here kind of folds into it a little bit, but the major shape that we have is right here, and it kind of comes outside like that. Don't worry about all the folds and inner sides. That's what people do. They get too caught up in the details first. And even if you want to turn this into realistic drawing or painting, whatever, try not to make it to where, and we'll actually make that a little bit lower. Try not to focus on details, especially this early on. And that's the first major mistake that I see beginning artists make, is they try way too hard to draw what they're looking at. They try too hard to, or even if they're not looking at something, they try too hard to replicate the details that they know of that thing in their mind. So they're like trying to draw each individual strand of hair. Don't do that. Even in a painting, you never actually paint each individual strand of hair. In a drawing, you don't, even with pencil, you don't draw each individual strand of hair. You actually shade in all the clumps first, and then you just add a few little details here and there, and it goes a long way into showing what it is you're looking at. Now we might break this up into a couple different clumps here. We can have one clump like, let's say right here like this. And this clump is kind of going underneath like that right there. That clump is going underneath that clump. And that's it, simple like that. If you want to, you can even draw a couple little strands coming out this way right here, just to kind of represent what it is we're looking at. Worry about breaking up the big clumps after you have them broken, after you have the big clumps there. Then worry about breaking them up. So we have this other big clump of hair right here, and draw again as one big clump of hair. And it looks like it kind of snakes out into two pieces, right? So it kind of has a shape like this here, and it kind of curls into the shape here. That's it. And you're not trying to necessarily even draw exactly where it's at and everything like that. You're looking at more as inspiration for what you're drawing. Now there's a clump of hair underneath this clump, and it kind of goes like this. And you have a lot of overlapping and stuff of hair, where one clump is going over another clump. And that's it. Just draw that shape. That's all you have to do. And we'll go and draw it all the way out here like that, even though it's not in in the picture. And that's what you have to be able to do. You have to be able to like draw kind of like from your imagination a lot, even when you're drawing from reference, because there's gonna be a lot of stuff that might not be there, and you're gonna want to add it. Now I really don't like this, this V shape here. I think it looks ugly. So what we're gonna do instead is we're just gonna kind of flip it to maybe something more like that there, and then we'll have this clump of hair coming under like that. So you don't always have to draw exactly what you see. There's no reason that you have to draw the hair exactly as you see it. The person's still going to look like them, even though the hair is a little different. What's important to capture is, like, if you want to really capture likeness of people, is you really want to capture, their face structure and things like that. So now we have these basic clumps from that side pretty much. We can add that one more clump if you wanted to right here that kind of folds with it. And I really don't like the way in the photo that one piece of hair folds into the other one. See how this piece of hair just goes right into that piece? So instead I'm going to kind of move that a little bit. And this is for just aesthetic reasons. It's for design reasons that it looks better, so it's not competing and there's not like overlapping of shapes. It's composition type stuff. Right, now this side of the hair is actually pretty simple because all we have here is just like a couple clumps. It's really just one major clump, but we'll come off with this clump right here. And we'll kind of just come down with it like that, and it kind of goes like this. That's the major separation that I can see in the line. And you can maybe have the clump coming in like that. That's the clump of hair right there. And then everything else is pretty much their own separate thing. If you want to come all the way up with the clump, you can right up here like that, where it kind of connects in. And you have a couple little strands right here. You can come out like that. And then you can start, micromanaging and coming into details. But this is the major shapes that we're working with here. And then sometimes I like to draw a couple flow lines just so I kind of know how the hair is flowing overall, like the overall shape in my sketch. I like to, draw a couple hairs, come over here like this. Even if the person doesn't really have the hair shown like there, I like to add it in there anyway. All right, this is kind of like that swooping motion coming up where how the hair is being combed. And that's it. So that's the shape of the hair. That's all you have to do to get that major shape of the hair. Then you can come and get as detailed as you want with this. You can come in and with your pencil and everything and get as detailed as you want. But what's really important, if you're going for realism, we'll discuss comic book style in a second. What you want to do is, let's say, take some shadow here. And let's say you're working with pencil, or you're working like me inside of Manga Studio or some other program. Is get the major. First, let's do this on a separate layer. And for I know that this is my color layer, I'm just going to kind of put a color on it. That's my shadow layer. I'm going to first just kind of color in all the hair just a little bit, very lightly. Now, if you're working with pencil and paper, all you do is you take your pencil, kind of turn it to the side, use the side of the pencil lead, and just kind of shade it in all flat really quickly with one tone. Bam, just like that, you're done. Then you want to take it, maybe still using the side of your brush, or if you're using a program, make it a little bit smaller here, and just kind of add the major dark areas where you see them in the hair. So you have one like right here. There's another one here where you have it overlapping. Maybe add just a little bit of form to that piece here, a little bit of form to where it's overlapping there. And so you're starting with the major clumps first. That is the areas you can see that change the most in color. In this case, you're just looking at shadow. You're looking at dark and you're looking at light. That's all you're trying to focus on right now, is dark and light. You're not trying to focus on all the details and all the minutia and the little overlappings and things like that. Focus on the whole picture first, the big picture. I'm going to just draw a little bit of that shadow of the hair coming into the face here. And then we have a little bit of shadow right here, overlapping those forms. And then this form right here has a lot of shadow in it as well. It's overcoming, it's going over the ear, so. And that's it. So that's the major clumps of hair. That's what you see right here. And that's all you have to do. It's just that simple. It's the major shape. And all you can already see, it's starting to look like hair, right? And then what you want to do is come through, and that's when you would start to add in more of the details, right? Now, with a comic book, it's really just about inking, and so I might want to actually do this on a separate layer. Okay, there we go. That way I can show you real quick the comic style when we do inking. And so at this stage, I don't even have to look at the picture anymore. I just, I guess you can if you really want to, but you really don't have to. I mean, you're not trying to represent exactly the photo. That shouldn't be your goal. When you're drawing from reference, right, your goal shouldn't be to replicate what you're looking at exactly, right? You're not trying to replicate the photo exactly. Especially with hair, have a little bit of fun with hair, because hair, it can be so many different ways. Her hair could have fallen so many different ways, and it's still her. It's still going to look like her, right? To capture the essence of the person isn't to capture the hair for every little strand, for every little thing. You're not trying to be a photo digital copier. Have some fun with it. With the eyes and the nose and things like that, yeah, those things, that really defines the person. So you have to be more strict when you're trying to replicate the person. We're trying to make it look like them with the eyes and the nose and the mouth and stuff, But when it comes to hair, you don't have to do that. It's really unnecessary. Like, why do that? Why spend all that time? And I'm just doing this quickly here, just to get an idea. So as you start to add just little details here and there, it starts to come alive. And you can start to see it come alive right now before you. Just a few strands of hair here and there. Now, if you're painting, it's a little different than pencil work. I'm trying to like simulate pencil work here. And I know you can still see some of that blue and stuff underneath there, but that's fine. I really want to add, a lot more of that shading there. And just add a couple strands of hair in here, and that's it. Just a few is all you need. I mean, a few strands goes a long way, and it starts to show. Anyway, so I'm not going to get too detailed with this, but notice that I'm not trying to draw every strand of hair. I'm drawing more of I'm focusing more on the form that I see before me, individual forms within the form. And then I'm like, okay, let's just draw a couple strands of hair here and there just to kind of break it up. Let's go ahead and get rid of the, actually wait, did I have the blue on the same layer as, where's the blue layer? Okay, there we go. And as you can see, it starts to take shape and starts to look very cool, right? Now, if you're doing a comic book, it's even less, you're even going to be focusing on, let's see, let's get rid of, there we go. Make one more layer here. Now you're going to be focusing on less. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here because we're not really concerned with any of that. I'm going to make this layer black so I know that it is my inking layer. Maybe make a slightly smaller brush here. Now with comics, I like to come with these individual pieces of hair right here on the side just to kind of show like that. And really it's about, with inking, I mean, it's really an art on its own, and that's why you have, inkers and you have pencilers, because not every penciler can ink well, and a lot of inkers, they can't do anything else really but inking. They're like a lot of them, they're really a tracer. They're tracing with the pencils, but a lot of inkers can also work good at pencils. Just they might not be as good as inventing and doing all that thing for comics. But anyway. So what I'm doing here, I'm just adding a few little details here and there, as you can see, and I'm just picking out a few strands of hair that I wanna show. And I don't really like that strand, so let's start over. Let's do one more like that. And another thing I try not to do is have lines intersect. Like I noticed I didn't have that line grow in there; it's not touching. And this line, I can have it touch there only because it's overlapping, and I want to show how that hair is overlapping the other hair. I might come with this couple little strands, and that's it. That's really all you need for comic hair. You don't need a whole lot of detail. And I don't like the overall forking of the hair really like that, so I'm going to kind of change it. No, it's just a few strands go a long way in comics. And honestly, I probably wouldn't even, even if I had a hairstyle that was this complicated in a comic book, you got to think about it. You got to draw that over and over again, panel after panel, I would, you know, make sure that I have it very simplified. So you can see how this isn't taking me all that long to do. Oops. I might have a couple little loose hairs on the outside here. Might bring that hair right here. And then a couple lines. What I like to do is have one line, oops, kind of like right next to the line and kind of pulling into it. Kind of makes like this V pattern, and that looks really cool, I think, in comic books. So might come off a couple strands here or there, and there just kind of, and then maybe just have a couple lines just wildly coming out, just to show the wildness of the hair. And that's it. And then we can go ahead and let's get rid of the blue line. There we go. Notice a little bit of shadowing, and everything goes a long way with hair. And even without the shadowing, though, it's still, you know, it holds and it captures your attention. And this might still be a little too busy for comic books. For some, you know, there are comic books that do hair like that, but I typically like hair that isn't as busy. You know, I like to do hair that's more like this here. And as you can see, it's not that busy at all. Just a few lines to define the overall hairstyle. Now, all you have to do is look at a picture of Harley Quinn from the new Suicide Squad. Just type in Suicide Squad Harley Quinn on your Google, and you're going to see this hairstyle, and you'll probably find one that's similar to a front view. And you can see how I've just changed it a lot. As a matter of fact, let me just show you a picture real quick. So actually, this was the exact image that I used to get the inspiration for this hairstyle. Notice I changed it a lot. I didn't try to stick to it exactly. I'm like, hey, you know what? I like that kind of, I like the bangs kind of coming in front of the face. I like the ponytail type thing. Other than that, though, there's not a whole lot of resemblance. And I didn't try to draw exactly what I saw. You see, I like these couple of strands of hair kind of sticking out. I like the hair kind of coming up more and then waving. Right? This is more aesthetically cool, I think, in a comic book. So that's what I did and went with. I made it much more puffy. I like this much more puffy than so tight to her head. And that was just a style choice. So, but you can see that I didn't try to, even if I was, let's say, using this ponytail as some sort of reference, I wasn't sitting here and trying to draw all these details and all that kind of stuff. I don't do that. I just quickly draw a few little details. So notice it's just the curve here, the curve there, the curve there, just to show a few little lines. And a few lines go a long way with your comic book. So keep that in mind. And if you're a penciler and you have somebody else inking your work, you know, be kind to them. You know, you don't have to like draw all these details. You really just have to kind of draw the basic clump and maybe a little bit of shading in there, so they kind of know the idea that you have in mind for how you want it to be inked. And you know, and the inking styles and depend on how much black they put is and depend on where you add the shading at, right? But a lot of that they're going to also determine themselves. But anyway, so yeah, just like I said, the little details go a long way. Now this hair is actually covering her ear and stuff. I just didn't bother erasing the ears. I just kind of left them there. I'm like, whatever. Like I said, it was just done very quickly. You notice that the ears are almost as if the hair is a little bit transparent almost, but not really. But yeah, so that's it. Keep it simple. Even if you're trying to replicate and do a painting, focus on the big forms first and then add a little bit of strands of details, but get the form down. That's what's important. And with comic books, the form is pretty cool too. You definitely want to, you know, pay a little bit of attention to the form. But the main thing with the comic is that you're really trying to simplify and you're trying to grasp the overall shape and style of the hair and kind of almost cartoonize it in a way. All right, thank you for watching. Again, this is Neil, best-selling author of How to Draw Awesome Figures. Check it out on Amazon. There's both paperback version and a Kindle version. I also had a best-selling novel for a while, and I'm going to be doing, hopefully here, a series on how to write again and how I was successful. I'm going to make a course on how I was successful and how I sold my novel, Bending Nature, a different kind of vampire novel. That's the full title. I published it under my pseudonym name and also my girlfriend's pseudonym name, Samantha Stone. She actually helped out a little bit with it to get the female character right and everything. And that's why I published on a pseudonym, because it's a female character. For those of you that remember my old tutorials and stuff on how to write, you guys will kind of remember when I was talking about that story, the different kind of vampire story and some of the elements of it. So yeah, but yeah, I finally sold it. That's kind of cool. And so now I'm working on maybe selling another novel. I have like 6 more that I wrote. But I have an idea for a screenplay that I really want to write right now, and I want to see if I can't win an award with it and see if I can actually sell it. It's actually a really cool, different idea. I have a couple different screenplays I'm working on actually. I like writing screenplays more than I like writing novels. Novels take a lot of work, but nonetheless, I'll be showing how to do novels and stuff. And please make requests on what kind of videos you'd like to see on both writing and or drawing. I do plan on coming out with more writing videos. I just haven't had the time. I've been so busy with my new LED grow lights. That's just go to growpotcheaply.com. They're the Black Diamond Perfect Sun series. I designed them myself and everything, and they're freaking amazing, awesome lights. So even if you just grow like tomatoes and stuff, oh my God, like indoor growing during winter, you can just kill the hell. Like the best tomatoes you're ever going to grow indoors, period. They will grow as if they were outdoors. It's just amazing. This light's absolutely fabulous. Well, actually, the whole light series, the whole Perfect Sun series is awesome, and it's the spectrum and stuff, and the design of the light and how it delivers that spectrum that makes the light so awesome. It uses very little electricity, but puts out tons and tons of power. Like it just for 530 watts, the Perfect Sun 1000 produces so much power. It's amazing that it has to be in a light mover. It's so powerful that at 2 feet away, it will burn your plants. Somebody right now on 420 magazine right now is growing. There's a couple of people right now that are doing grow journals with my light, and one guy has it on a light mover, and it's traveling 7 feet right now back and forth. And he had one plant that was a little too tall, and it got to about 7 to 6 inches to my light, and it started to burn his plant. And that was on a light mover, traveling 7 feet. So it's only over that plant for a short period of time, during its travel, yet still managed to burn the plant. I managed to be able to get it within 18 inches, and also Shiggity Flip managed to get it with 18 inches on a light mover. So that's how powerful it is. Most lights, even 1000 watt HPS, you can have it 18 inches away from your plants when it's stationary. My light has to be on a light mover if you want it 18 inches into your plants. And it's so powerful that when it's on a light mover, it makes it to where all the plants underneath it grow really big and awesome. Anyway, so just a little bit about me, what's been going on. That's why I've just been so busy and haven't been able to come at you guys with more videos. So, but yeah, I'll try hard to come out with more. And I know a lot of you guys are waiting for more writing tutorials. And now that I'm a semi-successful published author, I've sold several short stories to magazines, and then finally sold my novel. Got a pretty good amount for it. My next goal is to win an award for a screenplay and then sell the screenplay. So I make these little goals for myself and try to reach them. And I won't stop until I die. So, all right, thanks for watching.